I'm Allison Davis, reporting live from the GBTA broadcast studio in Toronto. I'm here today with Karl Muller from Airlinepros. Karl, how you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Great.
Thanks for having us.
Great to have you here. So Karl, can you talk to me about the key trends you're seeing in airline distribution today?
For sure. Thank you. That's a very good question. Within the context of the business travel category, over the past few years, we've been seeing continuing evolution and progress in technologies surrounding, for example, accessing and booking airline itineraries, reservations. In addition to the development of the specific fare types that are loaded into the GDS or agency computer systems for specific types of use. Now, one notable trend that we can comment on, or better yet say a confirmed path, is that air carriers have evolved from pure GDS distribution channels for agencies to web-based platforms, to mobile platforms, and other types of varied apps. Now, most of these platforms literally mean now that you can have booking channels on your cell phone, for example, of your preferred airline, and you book at your own convenience, load it right onto your phone. And one of the ramifications of this has been that, for instance, in the context of business travel, maybe a small or medium-sized business owner or management, well, they might find this very convenient, and that bypasses the TMC, who could actually perhaps provide them better support, access to diverse itineraries, or even more economic fares for their budgets. So we've seen a lot of that. Now, in an effort to reduce reservation platform costs, also many airlines have created direct link protocols, also known as APIs. And so for agencies, there are a few advantages, and there are also some, how shall we say, disadvantages of these sort of systems, seeing as the cost-benefit factor comes down to, does an agency or TMC have a specific amount of volume for a direct app? You're already paying for a GDS system, so you want to use it.
Right.
So naturally, and with that in mind, many of these apps have certain limitations. It's still in its development stage in a number of cases, in that they don't aggregate, not all of them aggregate hotel and car bookings all onto perhaps one PNR or one central booking file. So agencies that are paying rent or subscriptions for the GDS systems that they use, well, they want to use what they're paying for, not to mention the convenience of having all these booking specifics on one central file.
Right. So as we've seen the increasing globalization of commerce in general in recent years, what growth markets do you see emerging?
Well, the past few years have actually been quite an interesting roller coaster from a business travel perspective. We've had recessions in some geographic regions, which affects business travel, naturally. We've had the development of new mega trade blocks with multi-nations involved, with ongoing developments, such as, for instance, we've got the CPTPP, or the Enhanced Trans-Pacific Partnership, and the opportunities that this will eventually provide by bringing markets and business opportunities closer together. We also have the dynamics defining trade around Brexit, and businesses that are impacted by that. We have other trade nations that are under sanctions. So all this business is in a flow, going one place or another, being adjusted to make up for losses elsewhere. And all of this has some bearing as to how and where and what volume business is taking place, and how the essential players are going to travel to fulfill the requirements to make these business deals work. Now, one segment we've seen a slow recuperation for is the energy and mining segments over the past year and a half, 2 years. That's been our observation based on the airlines that we manage and represent here in Canada. And these two segments actually have massive travel requirements. So with the advent of new multilateral trade deals between Canada and other blocs or nations, we've seen an increase in finance, services, industrial-related travel taking hold. And geographically, you could say it's been focused on Asia, Europe, and Africa.
Interesting. So given advancements in technology combined with the airline's current emphasis on direct booking, we discussed earlier, how has that impacted your business?
Well, at this point, with the airlines that we represent, we haven't really felt any impact. at this point. That doesn't mean that there isn't something in development or underneath that hasn't manifested itself yet. Our company, Airlinepros, is an airline representation and commercial management organization on behalf of the airlines that want us to develop their product, their market, and their services here in Canada. So right now in Canada, we are the central support contact for any sort of commercial requirements that may be required. Providing support, be it providing ticketing authority, maybe an agency wants to negotiate marine fares or any sort of special fares loaded, or has BSP issues. We do all of that on behalf of the airlines that we manage as their representatives. Now, in addition to this, we also do marketing activities, such as being at the GBTA this year, as we are every year. Also, we do training, webinars, etc. So we're out there providing the support the airlines and the TMC partners need for these carriers, so they can fulfill their contracts with their end clients. But with regards to the direct link programs, as to the airlines that we represent, a few of them have developed APIs. Our basic role as the airline GSA is to let our TMC partners or the agencies or the travel community out there know that these actually do exist. And then it comes down to an optional decision. If a TMC wants one, well then obviously we can coordinate the installation of such a tool into their systems. However, in the end, it's a cost benefit. Is the demand there for that specific airline or those specific routes there that this airline operates? And really, for the airline, the interest in the API is that it lowers a bit their costs by perhaps 2 to 3% on average. However, if a TMC or an agency decides not to accept an API, they'll still end up making a booking on there. And the end result is that the airline does obtain the booking, but just via the traditional GDS platform. So by and large, from what we've seen here in Canada, as it relates to the airlines that we manage at this time, the direct link or API options have been slow to catch on, especially from the TMC community.
Okay. Well, Karl, thank you so much again for being with us here today. Once again, I am Allison Davis, live from the GBTA studio in Toronto. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.